Most filmmaking advice online is about gear, camera settings, or making your footage look cinematic. But if you've ever tried to make videos consistently for YouTube, for clients, or for yourself, well, then you probably already know that that's not the most important thing. It's not the lens, it's not the LUT, it's how you think and how you choose to create. So over the last 10 years, I've made hundreds of videos for clients, brands, and more recently, full-time on YouTube. And the biggest lessons that I've learned, they're not just technical. So today I want to share 10 filmmaking truths that I wish I had learned earlier. Because if someone would have told me these back then, it would have saved me years of overthinking. So let's start with the one that I ignored for a very, very long time. I've created so many videos in the last 15 years, and while I loved trying to come up with clever and complex stuff, I found that usually the most simple ideas turned out the best. Simple is not boring. Simple is clear. Clarity is actually really important in filmmaking. A simple shot, a clear idea, one emotion at a time, that's really what lands. You don't need a complex story or crazy transitions or the best gear. You just need to know what am I trying to say and how do I let the viewer feel that. If you start with that, you can always add more complexity later. The word cinematic has been around for a very long time now, and it's become even a more hype word lately. And don't get me wrong, I really like cinematic. I love nice color grading, beautiful compositions. That stuff can really elevate a video. But if cinematic is your main focus, I really think you're missing the point, because cinematic isn't the goal, connection is. At least for me. I don't think we invented internet filmmaking to try and mimic Hollywood. You know, we made it so you could tell stories your own way. So I think you shouldn't try to perform at your highest level all by yourself. You should really try to express something and make something that only you can make. Because if the story comes across and that hits, that's what it's all about, even if you just filmed it on your phone. So if you're wondering now, okay, but if I'm not focusing on being cinematic, then what should I focus on? Well, I think you should focus on the story, because that's really what every video comes down to. Even if there's no voiceover, even if no one's talking, you're still trying to tell something. You guide the viewer through a moment, or through a feeling, or through a change. And the more you practice storytelling, the better you will get at it. And it's a really useful skill, not only for filmmaking, because storytelling shows up in so many parts of life. Even when tools change and when AI gets better at editing, there will always be something special about a story told by a real person. And that's of course also why I created the Story Starter Kit, because it's really focused on storytelling. So after editing so many videos, I've come to realize just how important sound really is and how often it gets underestimated. It's really crazy, because you can forgive a bad shot, but you can't forgive bad audio. It's really weird, right? Because you would think that filmmaking is all about visuals, but if your sound is bad, people click away immediately, no matter how good your shots look. And it's not just about dialogue or voiceovers. Music matters so much, and sound effects matter so much. Even silence matters sometimes. So really, don't rush your audio, don't rush your music choice, don't just drag a random track in and call it done. Sound really shapes emotion. And emotion, that's the thing that people actually remember. So next time, just spend even a little bit more time on your music, on your sound. It's really going to be worth it, believe me. You know, the majority of my career, I really tried to do everything the right way. I was constantly worrying if I was doing the things the way they were supposed to be done. But after years of directing and editing and producing and doing basically everything within my video agency, I've really learned something. There is no right way to make a film. Let me repeat that. There is no right way. And if someone says there is, I think they're lying. Sometimes you'll have an idea and think, this is maybe a little bit weird. Maybe I shouldn't do that because no one's done that before. But those things, you know, that weird shot or that strange voiceover idea, that instinct you're not sure about, try it. Because that's really how you start to develop your own voice. And your voice, that's what eventually will get noticed on YouTube or with clients or wherever. So trust your instincts more, because that's how you grow into the kind of creator you actually want to be. So this one builds right on the last point. Both with YouTube and with client work, I used to think there's no way my first idea is the best one. It came up too fast, It felt too simple, so I would spend another day or two trying to improve it, tweaking, reworking, adding more ideas, but most of the time, that first idea turned out to be the right one. Even with client projects, if we presented multiple concepts, 80, maybe even 90% of the time, they would pick the first one. You know, that first idea, the one that felt too obvious or too weird, there's a reason it came up to you so fast, and it's probably more honest than all the other things that came after that when you're overthinking everything, you know? So when something feels good straight away, just trust it. Not always, but probably more often than you think. I really used to think that perfectionism was holding me back, that I had to work on my perfectionism because I would spend 10 hours straight perfecting a single sequence, forgetting to eat or to drink, and I really wanted to make everything land perfectly in the edit. And there's so much content out there about how to beat your perfectionism, so I thought I had to beat mine too. And to be fair, sometimes it was a problem, you know, there were moments that I really just had to let go and finish something. But I think there's an important nuance to be made, because other times perfectionism was the thing that made my videos feel like art. You know, this obsession can really be love for your passion, and sometimes it's just fun, you know, to push something until you really know that it's the best version you could have made. Just don't get stuck on one frame for 5 hours, I guess. But just ask yourself, am I polishing this because it brings joy, or am I doing this because I'm afraid that it's not good enough? There's a really big difference between those two. After doing hundreds of projects, whether they were paid, passion projects, or just for fun, I can now say with completely confidence that there's always a point in the process where you will think, this sucks. It's like a dip, or sometimes it feels like a deep depression. But you know, that dip, that's where most people quit. And if you push through, if you keep adjusting and going forward step by step, you will usually come out of the other side with something really amazing. The funny thing is, when we're working for a client, we have to push through that dip, you know, so we do that. But when it's a personal project like a YouTube video, it suddenly all feels way harder. So recognizing that dip already helps, and knowing it's part of the process really makes it easier to move through. So next time, when it shows up, and you will know when it shows up, just keep going anyway. Keep going, because you will amaze yourself and you will be so happy that you didn't quit. I promise you. In the beginning, when I was directing, I thought I had to execute the script exactly as I wrote it, that I just had to stick to the plan at all costs. But after going through the full process so many times, I now know that the director's job is not to control everything, but it's really to protect the overall vision and to make good decisions when things go wrong, because they will go wrong. You know, a video is made 3 times: in the script, during the shoot, and in the edit. And at each stage, things will shift. You will come up with new stuff while writing. You will get rid of shots, or you will find better ones when you're filming. And in the edit, things really won't work the way you imagine, so you will change them again. And that's all part of the process. And that's what makes it really frustrating, but also really fun, because you get to be creative. And the more you embrace that things will go differently, the more fun you will actually have. But it's still hard. Filmmaking is amazing, and it's one of the most meaningful things in my life. But if I think back over the past 15 years, the best memories, they're always the ones I made with friends. Because filmmaking with friends, that's just different. There's this special energy when someone gets your weird idea, and when you create something together that you could not have made alone. And those people, they are somewhere, you know, maybe not in your neighborhood, but they are definitely to be found online, and it's never been easier to find them. And yeah, I think finding your people, that can really change everything. So please do whatever you have to do to find them and go make some memories. So if this video helped you out in any way, please give me a little thumbs up, because that really helps me a lot. And if you need any tools or help in your filmmaking journey, be sure to check out the links in the description, because I have some free and some paid options to help you out. And now, if you want to know more about the only 9 shots I use to tell any story, you can watch this video next. Keep creating, and I'll see you the next time. And the sun is down.